Okay, we're good to go.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Pam. Good evening, everybody. And thank you very much for taking the time to be here this evening. Most of you know me, some of you may not. So for those of you that don't, I'm Councillor Michael Beattie. It's nice to see those of you that I know again. It's nice to meet those. Thank you for applying and stepping up to serve your hometown at especially such a young age. I think it's very admirable that especially during the last term, we did some great work. We had a bit of a hiccup in that we had a 100-year pandemic happen, which sort of sidelined a lot of the work that we were doing and a lot of the work that a lot of councils were doing around the province and around the world. But slowly but surely, things are getting back to normal, and part of getting back to normal is getting groups like this and the work that they do back underway. So thank you for being a part of it, and I look forward to serving with you over the next 2 years. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope that it's a lot of fun for you as well. So welcome to you. And without further ado, before we get into the formal part of the meeting, I'd like to, for the benefit of those that haven't before, I'd like to introduce you to three of my colleagues that I work with in the council chamber, in addition to Pam, who you already know and have communicated with as well. I'd like to introduce you to Mayor Rick Millen, Deputy Mayor Norcross, and our Chief Administrative Officer, Blaine Parkins. So gentlemen, the floor is yours. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much, Councillor Beattie, and Madam Chair. Once again, just to echo Councillor Beattie, we're so glad that you've stepped up to the plate and taken this role on for the next 2 years. We have all the confidence and faith that our youth today should have a voice in our world. And when Councillor Beattie brought this to the council to request a youth advisory, it was unanimously agreed on, and Councillor Beattie has done a great job. On behalf of the 40,000 residents of New Tecumseh, I just want to thank each and every one of you and wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a safe and healthy New Year's. Thanks, Madam Chair and Councillor Beattie.
Thank you, Worship. Mr. CEO, if you don't mind if I go next, actually, I just want to thank Councillor Beattie because this was totally his initiative. And he brought this just up a couple of years ago, and he thought it was great that he would engage the youth, which is here tonight, which is great you're participating. So Councillor Beattie, thank you for doing what you did. You said that you'd be able to involve the youth and that you'd make a difference, and you have done that. And you continuously prove that year after year by involving the youth. That's going to shape our community as we go forward. So I just want to say thank you to the young people that have shown up and are participating, but more importantly to Councillor Beattie, thank you. You said you could make a difference, and you have made a difference, and you're continuing to make a difference. And I think that is absolutely fantastic. So thank you, sir.
Good evening, Councillor Beattie and Madam Chair, Mayor Milne and Deputy Mayor Norcross. Thank you for inviting me, Councillor Beattie. It's always a pleasure to attend these meetings and see such bright young faces and getting involved in our community, which is a fantastic thing to see, especially in times like this where we're all pressed a little beyond where our normal comfort zones are. As you know, we're sitting all at our homes looking at our computers instead of being in the same room. So it's been a challenging last few months, and I'm sure all of you guys and your families have been living those challenges with us. The gentlemen that you see on the screen, the mayor and the deputy mayor and Councillor Beattie, have demonstrated the kind of leadership throughout the community over the last number of months that certainly help us navigate these times. So you're in good hands with these guys, and I look forward to working with you from an operational perspective. And Councillor Beattie, if there's anything that the organization can do to assist, or any questions or anything like that, then please don't hesitate to reach out, and we will make the staff available. And I know previous advisory committees have been involved with the transit program that's still under development and things like that. So by all means, do not hesitate to reach out to our staff, and we'll be happy to assist you in any way we can. So thank you. I wish you guys all the very best of luck, and it's always good to see such bright young faces getting involved with their community. So thanks very much. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much, Blaine. And thank you, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. And before I forget, our next council meeting is on Monday, December the 14th. It's the last meeting of the year, and it will be the meeting where we ratify our 2021 budget. So if you are able to join us virtually, I'd like to formally invite all members of the committee to join us virtually so that I can introduce you to the rest of our colleagues and to our community as well. So if you're available, I'd love for you to join us for the first few minutes if you can, so that I can introduce you, and you can stick around for the meeting as well, or you can carry on to other things. So we'll make sure that the invite is extended to you, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday night. Gentlemen, thanks again for taking the time. You're welcome to stick around, or you can head on to the next gig. Thanks very much.
Councillor Beatty, thank you so much for inviting me. I really greatly appreciate it. You're doing a wonderful job. I think it's absolutely spectacular. To all your young members, thank you very much. But I do have to move on, so I apologize, but I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, Madam Chair, I am going to throw things over to you. But before we do that, for the benefit of some of our new members, perhaps we could just, it kind of looks like Brady Bunch on the screen now, right? There's 9 of us. So we're officially 9 now. Mayor Millen's going to stick around. I'd just like to open up the floor to each of you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Just tell us where you live, how long have you lived in New Tecumseh, what you love about it, and what do you think we need to change? And I'll open.
I'm guessing we're starting.
Yeah, turn your mic on and just go for it. Sydney, we'll start with you.
Okay, so, okay then. Hi, my name is Sydney Narain. I am Madam Chair of New Tecumseh Youth Advisory Committee. I've been on this committee for about 4 years now, since the beginning of 9th grade. It's been an amazing experience. I currently reside in Everett. I go to school at Banting Memorial High School, and I'm in 12th grade, so this is my last year. I love New Tecumseh so much. For me, I see this town as so much that can build upon and so much that can grow. We have such a large youth population, and I believe that, you know, youth are the voices of the future, and I believe that we have a say in this town because of, you know, we are the future and we are there to lay the foundation here. So that's why I'm so passionate about this committee, and I'm passionate about other committees within the town. I also do Rotary Club, the Youth Rotary Club. I'm the president of that. And I'm a part of a bunch of other clubs and committees at Banting. So if you go to that school, always reach out to me. I'm there to help. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. And whoever wants to go, I'll throw it over to you.
Thanks, Sydney.
I guess it's me.
Sure.
All right. So hi, I'm Matthew Macroff. I've been part of the youth committee for about a year now officially. I've lived in New Tecumseh for about almost 10 years now. It's been a part of my life for that long, and it's been a really great pleasure to be in this town and grow with it and see it grow within it. There's a lot of things that are good about this town, a lot of things that could be fixed to make life a lot better for not just us, but the people that are beyond us. And I also believe that in this, that it helps us a lot with fixing these problems and making our town a better place. I attend St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic High School in Tonham. I'm in the 11th grade. So if any of you need help with anything, it can always be out to reach. So don't be.
Thanks, Matthew. Megan, you were about to go, weren't you? I saw you.
Okay, hi, I'm Megan. It's nice to meet you all. I'm new here. I just joined. I'm in the ninth grade, and I've lived in New Tecumseh for about 10 years now. And it's been great. I definitely agree with what our Madam Chair said. Very nice words. It's great to live here. I really love it. I just went to St. Thomas Aquinas. I'm in the ninth grade. So the previous school I went to was Monsignor Ronan. And so I always found it fun to kind of walk around and get to know people and go visit the public facilities. So it's a really great town. I definitely love it. If there was one thing I think I'd like to work on in my time here, it would probably be more towards the artistic side of our town, like maybe hosting festivals or like plays, stuff like that. I think would really benefit a lot of people like myself who's really passionate about the arts. So yeah.
Thanks, Megan.
I can go next if that's okay.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Tay McIntyre. My full name is Tayan, but it's easier to pronounce Tay, so I go by that. I really like it here. It's really nice. It's a very beautiful town, and yeah, I live in Colgan, which is right outside of Tottenham, so I'm kind of in between there. Something I'd like to work on. I think also I am very creative and passionate about the arts, so I definitely want more of that, like Megan said.
Thanks, Tay. Two left. Mateus?
Hey, so I'm Mateus. I've been a member of this committee for, what has it been, Michael, now? 3 years? 4 years since the start.
Yep.
I've lived here my whole life, and I'm just really excited to help make more programs for everybody across New Tecumseh, but specifically youth and high school people, in whatever that may be, in festivals and arts and other programs, maybe charity fundraisers, some things along those lines. And I'm really excited to do more good things.
Thanks, Mateus. In France.
Hello, everyone. I am the adult youth advocate represented on the committee. I work for Youth Haven, so I am an outreach crisis counselor for youth in South Simcoe. So I've been doing that for quite a while. I've been working with youth for over 25 years, part of the committee for 3 years, and really enjoying it. Alliston, we moved here in 1992, so 28 years. Very generous community, generous in spirit. Whether it's the hospital, the Rotary, the Lions Club, hospice, this town rallies behind community. Even though we've seen a significant increase in people who are commuting for work, we've never lost that sense of community. People bond together here. They support everything that is put forward in the community. So it's just a joy to live here and to see how generous of spirit this community is. As far as youth, I think anything where youth can excel, whether it is the arts, as was already mentioned, or athletics with recreation facilities. Youth, you all have such a variety of personalities and interests and passions. Anything that can help you become a better you, and the more that we can offer in this community, from recreation facilities to artistic facilities, I'm behind it 100%. We just need to keep offering more for our youth to excel.
Thanks very much, France. Pam, did you want to introduce yourself? No?
Yeah. I have to get to the mute button. Hi, I am Pam Slowly. I'm the committee secretary. You will get lots of emails from me. Sending out some correspondence or things you might be interested in. And then, of course, I will be sending out the agendas and the Zoom invitations for all of our meetings. And while we're on that, if I could ask a quick question, is everyone okay with an actual invite, or would you prefer if I just sent strictly the link and the password and the meeting ID. Because I've heard sometimes the invites don't go to everyone's calendars depending on what kind of email they're using. Sydney?
I think the link is perfect. It's right in your email, and then you just click onto it, and then it brings you to the meeting. So I think that's way more effective.
Okay. Megan, you think the same thing? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll create the meeting link, and then I won't send it as an invite. I'll just send it as the link. So you can just click on it, join the meeting. You don't have to worry about your calendars, okay? Okay, great, thumbs up. And I'm just gonna be here in the background taking all the notes and stuff. So if you need me, just call on me.
All right. Thanks very much, Pam. And I think everybody knows me, but for those that don't, a little bit about myself. I'm serving on my second term as a counselor with the town of New Tecumseh, and really been enjoying it. I was born and raised in Alliston, in 1976, long before New Tecumseh was actually amalgamated. So I was born in Alliston, and when France said she moved here in 1992, it kind of jarred me because I just realized that I got my driver's license a couple of years later. So I'm officially that old now, I guess. It was hard to believe that somebody showed me that 1980 is now 40 years ago, and I was shocked. But in 40 years, you see a lot. And in 40 years, it's gone from a town of 4,000 people to a town of almost 40,000 people. So unbelievable change in my lifetime. So if it's been unbelievable change in my lifetime, imagine what it will be in your lifetime when the population is set to practically double over the next 10 to 12 years. So it changes the shape and the identity of the municipality, and we need to grow along with it. And part of growing along with it is making sure that we have not only the infrastructure and the services that you need, but also the supports and the programs and the recreational and arts and culture availability for you as well. And I like that a lot of you brought up arts and culture and athletics, because those are some of the things that we focused on in the past. And those are some of the things that'll be on the docket for the next couple of years, particularly arts and culture. I can tell you that council has significantly invested in the arts and culture sector, particularly this year with the COVID-19 impacts. Don't need to tell you how devastating it's been for the business world and the entertainment world and the athletic world and concerts and all those things where large gatherings are. So it really affected our arts community and their ability to host events and draw crowds and make money, right? It's you can only do so much with the virtual things, and those are great, but it really took a toll, and it was time for us as a municipality, in my view, to step up and support the arts community, because they support us. And for the minimal investments that we make and the return on investment that we get in the arts programming that gets delivered by organizations like the South Simcoe Arts Council and the Gibson Center, we couldn't purchase that kind of programming outside of here for that kind of money. So it's worth its weight in gold. So I'm glad that a lot of you are passionate about that, because a lot of us are passionate about that as well. So I'm going to throw things over to you, Sydney, to go through the formal part of the meeting. This part might seem a little formal and stiff, but we'll move through it, and I'll sort of explain as we go. This meeting will sort of be like a clean slate. There were some items that were on here from when we last met, which was almost a year ago. And those things have simply those ships have essentially sailed. So we will move through the agenda and we'll get to new business. And under the new business is where I'll take the discussion from there. So Sydney, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. So we'll start off with the confirmation of the agenda. So that pretty much means you can look over the agenda. I'll get a motion to confirm the agenda.
So this is where you'll either hold up your card when you receive it, and if you don't have one, you can just do one of these instead of for a yes. And confirmation of the agenda is basically just the agenda that you received from Pam. If there's anything that needs to be changed or added or deleted, this would be the point where you bring it up. So if there are no additions or deletions, then we'll just move and second that the agenda be confirmed. So I moved it, and I'm not sure who seconded it.
I think Franz. Yep.
Yeah.
All in favor?
So, yep.
Okay, great.
Oh, Mateus made one. Make us all a set.
Okay, so next on our agenda is welcome of new members, and we already went through that. And so next is disclosures of pecuniary interests. Do we have any? No.
We don't. And before we move on, I'll briefly explain that. This would be if there was anything on the agenda that you had a financial interest in. So for example, if we were talking about an item that was related to your job or your parents' job or something like that, anything that you may have a financial interest in, you would excuse yourself from this item and not vote on it. And the committee would work on and vote on the item in your absence so that you're not part of the vote. But given your age, I don't think that's going to come up very much, but you never know. But we don't have any for tonight anyway, so we can move on to that one, Madam Chair.
All right. And so next on the agenda is the summary report items. So first on the summary report is review of the previous one. Or sorry, is it the upcoming one?
This would have been from the previous one.
Previous, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at our next meeting, which will be in January, you will at our next meeting, item 1 will be the summary report dated December 3rd, 2020. So at our next meeting, the summary report on the agenda will be the notes from tonight's meeting. So this would be an opportunity to review the minutes of the meeting and make sure that everything is accurate. And if we had any corrections or changes to make, we would make them. And if there are no corrections or changes to be made, then we make a motion to receive the summary report as presented.
All right. Motion to confirm the review of the summary report. All right, motion by Matthew, seconded by Franz. Okay, all in favor? Okay. Second on the second item is deputations and presentations. So far we have none.
This would be where we had an invited guest, or if we had a presentation from a member of our staff. So for example, CAO Parkin talked about the transit study that was being done at the town. So part of the review was we invited one of our, I believe it was the transportation coordinator, to do a deputation. So they did a presentation to the committee and asked the committee to weigh in and provide comments from a youth perspective. We do this quite often with our Accessibility Advisory Committee as well. We're required under the Accessibility Act to have a committee in each municipality, and they would advocate on behalf of those with disabilities. So part of usually common practice with a lot of the studies and reports that we do is that staff will circulate them through various departments, and they'll basically ask for comments or considerations on the report so as they work through it. So you can look forward to seeing some of these over the next couple of years from time to time, whenever there is something that would be directly impacting youth. We would be consulted as a committee. We would be able to provide comments for council's consideration whenever they deal with the item in the chamber. Any questions on that? Okay, so that'll probably come up down the road. On to item 3, which is correspondence and information items. This would be any correspondence, mail, reports, resolutions of support that we would maybe have been circulated from other municipalities. This would be where any of those correspondence items would come up. And then on to item number 4, which
Okay,
is unfinished business.
sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
Okay, so our item for that is Cure for Courts, Awareness for Youth Mental Health Update.
I believe where we left off with this, and I'm not quite sure because it was several months ago, but I believe her name was Shaq, and I believe Shaq was trying to pitch events like this in New Tecumseh as well as some other municipalities as well. And obviously this was obviously before COVID-19 hit and it impacted the schools. So I'm really not sure whether or not a lot of those things really got off the ground. And if they did, how successful they were due to the impacts of the pandemic. But I think at this point, unless you've heard anything, France, have you heard from her at all?
Yes, I can speak to that.
Okay.
So speaking with Shaq as well as the staff member at St. Thomas, obviously with COVID, we couldn't do a basketball tournament or any type of fundraisers or awareness in the community. So at this point, there's not much happening as far as you said, Councillor Beattie, as far as anything happening with that in our community. But if you're interested to see, Shaq during COVID has been an extremely busy young woman, though, still moving her passion ahead to help youth. So if you look up Shaq's World in Barrie, she had a location downtown Barrie donated to her, and she managed to open a community center in the middle of COVID to support youth who didn't have places to go, etc. They're providing meals for youth. They're actually doing COVID with social distancing, basketball training, etc. It's really interesting. You can go onto her site. She's trying to figure out how to provide support for youth during COVID, but had a lot of support come in and managed to get her facility open. And she wants to take stuff to New Tecumseh and really come down and support our youth. But again, we'll have to wait until we can figure out what that looks like.
Yeah, perhaps I'll reach out to her and invite her to attend a future committee meeting, and we can reconnect and see where she's at now and how we can perhaps partner with her on something. I can certainly reach out to her. Can you provide me with her info and I can reach out to her?
Absolutely, I will.
Great. Okay. The next item was Cures for Courts, which we talked about. And then number 3 is the Door Youth Center. We had a brief open house several months back. So why don't you, if you could, France, for the benefit of other members of the committee that may not be familiar with the Door, tell us about the Door Youth Center and tell us about how the last 8 months have been there. Has anybody been to the Door Youth Center?
Actually, they had to close down as soon as COVID hit.
Really?
So they have remained closed. I haven't spoke to Amy, the director, probably in a couple of months, but she said it's status quo until something changes, unfortunately. So it has been closed and there's been no movement forward.
Simply because of safety and distancing and all that? Okay. That's unfortunate. Okay. Now, and item 4, yeah, that was actually for a federal program, which is no longer, it was expired. Okay, so we'll move on to item number 5, which is new business. Sorry, nope. I'm looking at the summary report, sorry about that. Item 5, new business. So this is where I sort of wanted to have a fresh start and sort of make a new beginning and start fresh. And this is where I sort of wanted to throw things over to you. I mean, I'm hearing arts and culture and athletics and programs and things like that, but I'd like to know what you would like to focus on over the next 2 years, because it's very easy to do a number of things but I find we have much more impact and we make a much bigger splash when we can focus on one or two or three things that we can put our vision towards and really move forward. So I'm just wondering, what has it been like for you the last 9 months? I don't think I certainly never planned to be in a 100-year pandemic. I don't know if any of you did, but I didn't think I would live through a world like this, and I don't know if you did either. But what has it been like for you? I'm interested in your perspective. Megan.
Well, it's definitely been an interesting experience, probably more difficult than positive. I was in grade 8 when it hit, so I lost my graduation and my trip, which I wasn't really too worried about considering everything that's going on. But no, through quarantine, it definitely had its ups and downs. Like, a lot of the times you're like, what do I do? This world is going to chaos, and like, your mind is just kind of not there, and you're a little bit worried, but a lot worried. But it also was kind of a positive experience for me too, in a strange way, because I found that I learned more things. Like, I took up different hobbies like writing and photo editing, which is a funny pastime of mine. And so, as hard as it was in times, I feel like it was also very helpful. But going back to school with all this is difficult, especially for my first year in high school, knowing that I can't have like all the clubs I wanted or the trips or even getting to go to like different classes or something as simple as having lockers. Like, it's a pretty drastic change for when you think when I was younger, my image of high school to this, but hopefully it'll just kind of solve itself through the next few years is my hope. Maybe not right away, but even just something better.
It's true. I think we all thought we were in it for 2 weeks or 4 weeks, didn't we? Didn't we think it was just a few weeks to slow the spread, and here we are 8, 9 months later. And yes, school must have been a vast difference, especially going from your graduation into grade 9 and during this of all times. Tay, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
I think like Megan said, it has been very interesting. I think I've also realized I've been very grateful because when it hit, I was at the end of grade 9, so I'd already had my first year in high school and I'd already had my graduation. And I think it also made me feel very grateful because where I lived and how I wasn't really financially affected. I think that this year, it's also really opened my eyes because I feel like I missed a lot of things that I didn't realize I was grateful for before, all the clubs I was in and things like that. And it's also made me very wary and about my surroundings, you know?
Absolutely. Anyone else? Well, I can tell you it was certainly different. With the exception of maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 days where I ventured to the office, I've been home since March 17th. And it's different. It's a lot different. I didn't think that I would be living in a time and an age where I'd see something like this. But I think one thing we all know is that when we return to normal, it's not going to be the normal that we return to. And if there's one thing I've learned from a lot of people that have taken stock over this time, it's that they'll really, a lot of people will really take stock of what they consider worthy of returning to as normal, right? So with that in mind, some of the things that we deal with, particularly in the budget, this budget that we passed in 2021 has been one of probably the biggest in terms of infrastructure and capital investments. Huge investments in water and wastewater services, huge investments in roads and bridges, and huge investments in parks and culture as well. just guess, out of every dollar that your mom and dad send to the government for taxes, how much do you think the town gets out of that dollar? Guess. Mateus?
10 cents?
Close. 9. So we get 9 cents of every tax dollar. So for every dollar that your parents or your guardians send up to the government, the municipality gets 9 cents. And for that 9 cents of every tax dollar, we're responsible for library services, fire services, parks, recreation, roads, bridges, water, sewer. I'm leaving a bunch out, but we have a huge responsibility. We have the lion's share of the hard work, so to speak. And part of making sure that we get that work right is making sure that we grow properly and grow responsibly. And part of growing responsibly is making sure that we're putting in the supports and services that we need for our residents. Did you know that 1 in 3 in the population of New Tecumseh are under the age of 25? And 1 in 3 are seniors. So 1 in 3. So we have an aging population combined with a very young population. And in between would be us boomers. But we have a huge opportunity. And I would like to see us work towards making sure that we have programs and supports in place for people like you that can't access your clubs and your after school, your curriculars and all of those things that you used to. I think there's good news on the horizon in that we're starting to hear about vaccines now, and instead of, months, we're hearing weeks, and, I guess that remains to be seen, but I think we're in it for at least the next 6 months to a year. I think that that's reasonable to expect. And for that reason, a lot of things are going to be, a lot of things have really suffered. Tell me about some of the things that you've missed the most. Megan.
Okay. So like I said earlier, definitely very passionate about the arts, and over in Barrie, I'm part of a theater group myself, and we were gonna put on a show in which I was gonna be my first lead, and then COVID hit, and we haven't been able to do theater since then. Like, we still kind of have classes, but it's not anywhere near like what it was. So I really miss doing my theater classes, and I miss just kind of like seeing people. Like, I can see my friends, but everybody is just like so cautious, and like with the new bylaw passed, which is definitely for the best, but it's just not the same. So definitely those things.
Yeah. Sydney?
For one, I totally miss my clubs at school. Like right now, school is kind of you go there and then you go straight home due to everything, and that's totally understandable, of course, for our safety. But I kind of miss that, fun aspect of going to school and doing something outside of the normal work that you do, and that's assigned, right? So having, doing my passions and doing my certain clubs into. So I definitely miss that more than anything.
I bet. Matthew?
I was gonna say, kind of like with sports and athletics and stuff, like what Sadie was saying, school has been just not the same since it's COVID, I guess. So it's pretty much go to your class and you sit in the same room for 6 hours a day and then you go home. It's just not the same. You don't get to see the people and meet other people that we used to be seeing all the time. And that's just affecting our social lives and affecting ourselves in many different ways. And especially with athletics, we're doing a lot of different stuff online now, and it's hard to do stuff we did before. So, which is hard for a lot of people because it's for them to stay active. It's been difficult to even get sports running. Like I know they're getting a lot more sports running up in New Tech slowly but surely, but that could be closed down now because they're talking about closing stuff down again. So it's just been tough. Like it's a time that none of us really know how to cope with, and no one really knows what's going to come up the next day. So you got to live with what you get and be happy with what we have.
It's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating. Tay?
I think that what I missed most was definitely the experience of school, like going to school, meeting new people, having more than one class was honestly a lot better than having one class for the whole day. But honestly, just the experience of going to school.
France, what's it been like working with youth in a time like this? How are kids in trouble coping?
It's been challenging. Our shelter where we house youth has had a wait list most of COVID, which is a sign of the breakdown at home for a lot of youth, which hasn't been great. Definitely mental health issues increase for sure, whether it's anxiety or stress. I personally find, I cover such a large area, but I would say in our area specifically in New Tecumseh, there's been a lot of positive things too. Some of the youth have been able to regulate at home and have found that online school is actually positive for their mental health. Some have really struggled with it and really need the community, but other people who have had challenges in the high school and challenges just find that being home and doing the work has been a positive for them. So I'm really getting a mixed bag, Councillor Beattie, all over the place. I get some who are really, really struggling and other ones who are finding their way through it. But as far as housing and other, high-risk behaviors, there has definitely been an escalation in it over the past 6 months. I sit on quite a few counties or quite a few committees in the county, and we certainly are concerned, I would say, with some increases with high-risk behaviors for sure that haven't been healthy in the meantime. Mm-hmm.
Your Worship, I'm wondering if you might be able to comment while you're here as you sit on the Police Services Board. Have you seen, has the committee witnessed a spike in mental health or addictions or crisis cases amongst youth over the past 8 months?
Through the chair to Councillor Beattie and the Youth Advisory Committee, yes, as a matter of fact, we had a police board meeting last night, and our second highest calls that our police are attending is domestic violence in the family. Families that have broken up, severe alcohol, drug addictions, mental illness is very high, but the second highest call volume is domestic assaults in the home. The staff sergeant was saying that some of these calls that you would never expect, to look outside, it's a beautiful home, 2-car garage, a nice swimming pool and everything, and inside is where the turmoil is. And also along with that is our police are helping out with the food banks. And as you know, Councillor Beattie, in Alliston and Tottenham, the food banks have got so busy with the number of people that are using it. But thanks for the opportunity, Councillor Beattie.
Thank you, Your Worship. Did anyone else have anything to add? Okay. So I think in terms of, I'm just trying to be mindful of everybody's time here. It's 7:45. I'd like to be able to wrap up by 8 o'clock so that everybody can have some semblance of an evening. And I know it's a school night as well. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to, for our next meeting, I'd just like you to think about, in the meantime, think about those things that you're passionate about, and think about those things that you want to see change over the next 2 years. So if you're passionate about arts and culture, let's have that conversation. It's a good time to have it, actually, because the municipality has been asked to step in and step up and support them. So this is a good opportunity to make sure that those funds that have been deployed to the cultural center get used on things, programs and services that youth like yourself will access, right? So it's a good opportunity for you to provide some feedback. And I'm also going to reach out to some of our staff members because, like I said earlier, I'd like you to begin seeing some of the plans and drawings of some of the things that are going to be taking place over the next year. And a couple things that come to mind are a couple of parks. One is Faulkner Park. I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with that one, but it's in the south end of Alliston, just off of the New Tecumseh Recreation Center. And that park is going to receive a $700,000 park and playfield equipment installation this spring. So these are the kinds of opportunities where I want you to weigh in from a youth perspective. It shouldn't be me and Mayor Millen picking out playfield equipment or some adult or some developer. I think that it's best that it come from the youth that actually use our parks and enjoy them. So this would be an opportunity for you to look at the plans and see what we can do to make things even better. And a couple of other things I was thinking about. One was the transportation plan. You probably noticed that there are some bus stops around Alliston now that the Simcoe County bus has been going through. And it started with its commuter link to get people to Bradford to catch the trains and whatnot, or catch the trains. But this is the time where we're going to be building upon that. And this is a good time to have that conversation about how do we build upon what the County of Simcoe has started so that we can make transit a reality for everybody, and that includes youth, so that you can access those things after school and in the evenings and on weekends, and those clubs and things like that. But I'll see where we left off with the transit plan, because I know that it was before COVID, and it was before the County of Simcoe launched the bus route. So it would be a good opportunity to pick up from there. And one other thing I had was one of the things that was passed in 2020, and again got sidelined because of COVID, was the inclusion of an all-wheels skate park in Riverdale Park. And I know everybody was really, really excited about that. And then the pandemic hit and everything just got shelved. But I'm going to be reaching out to Officer Chamberlain and asking him to come back and introduce himself to all the new members, and we can get that project back off the ground as well. And for those of you that don't know about that, this is a project that we're putting in Riverdale Park, and it's about a $1 million project where we're going to put in an all-wheel skate park. So not just skateboards, it's for people of all abilities and exceptionalities to be able to use. And wait till you see, if you haven't seen, wait till you see some of the drawings. This is really impressive stuff. There is not one like this around for miles and miles. And I'm looking forward to getting Officer Chamberlain back here so that we can get that off the ground as well, because I think that is a good project to get off the ground as well. So there'll be some great things that will be taking place over and being built and put in place over the next couple of years that you're all going to get to be a part of, and you're going to all get to provide comments and suggestions on, and those will be coming to these meetings. But what I want you to think about between now and the next meeting is, aside from all that, I'd like you to think about what you want to work on in the next 2 years and how I can help you achieve that, and how this committee and our council can help you achieve that as well. Because when you succeed, we all succeed. And part of this being a fulfilling experience for you is ensuring that you're able to do some of the work that you're passionate about as well. So think about that and bring those ideas and those visions to the table at our next meeting. And let's put all of those into one vision, and we'll chart a course forward, and we'll do some great work along the way. Sound good? Okay. Does anybody have any questions or anything for me or for Sydney or for Pam? No? Okay. So, do you all have my email address and my phone number? Okay. If you don't, it's on the town website, and Pam has it as well. That phone number is my personal number, so you can call, you can text me anytime. If you have an idea, you have a question, anything that comes to mind, send me a text anytime. I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to help in any way between now and our next meeting. And speaking of that, I suppose we should set that date, Madam Chair. And I'm going to throw it over to you. Normally, I would not hijack the meeting all evening the way I have. I would just sit in the back and behave and let Sydney do her thing. But I wanted to make sure that we got through this one, and I wanted to make sure that we were able to get some introductions and some other things out of the way. So now that that's done, I'm going to be a lot more quieter in the future meetings, and Madam Chair is going to do her thing. So Madam Chair, over to you.
All right, so we have to pick a date for the next meeting. So we're looking at January, right?
Yes. And Pam will have the dates. She'll have 3 or 4.
So I'll have to say the week of the 18th is probably the best week.
Okay.
Unless we did it very early in January, would have to be like the 6th. Which is only a month from now, but like the 21st would work. If we want to keep it on Thursday, does everyone like Thursdays?
Does Thursday night work for everybody? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thursday.
Does Thursday, January 21st work?
Yeah, I think that works because we end our semester, I think, early January. So
right, you guys have exams, right?
Yeah, so I think later January, so the 21st, I think that works.
Right.
Everyone else's school schedule.
Will exams be over by then?
Yeah, we have a different like schedule this year, but it should be done by then, yeah.
Matthew?
I think for ours for STA, I think we end the 15th as the last week, and then I think that's the start of our next semester, so I think that's fine.
Yeah,
okay.
Weeks are new.
Okay. So we'll go with the 21st. Is that okay for everybody?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So you'll receive an email from Pam a few days ahead of time with the link, and you'll get the agenda a week before, I think.
Yeah, so the agendas go out the Friday before. So the agendas will go out on the Friday before, and the summary report for this meeting goes to the committee of the whole meeting so that the councillors can have a look at it. And if we had any recommendations that we need council approval for, that's where they would go. So if we were asking for something, I have to put it in the report. That report goes to a committee of the whole meeting where the councillors need to discuss it, talk about it, approve it, and then it gets ratified at the following meeting. And then we'll have their direction that it's approved or whatever, and then we can move forward with the plan. So the work plan that you guys are going to work on is a good idea, so we can plan ahead a little bit, because sometimes it does take a little bit of time to get our ideas through committee and council.
Okay.
So, but I will definitely send out some emails with the next date and make sure everyone is aware. And I will also be sending out updated packages with these little voter cards. So watch your mailboxes next week, okay?
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent. Okay, so if there's nothing else, we'll have the next meeting on the 21st at 7 o'clock. And also don't forget, if you are available on Monday the 14th at 7 p.m., we will make sure to send you a link so that you can join us at the council meeting. And I would be happy to introduce you to the rest of our colleagues as well as the rest of our community as well. So I hope that you'll join us for a few minutes so that I can do that. And you can actually join us for the meeting as well if you like, and see how the big ones go. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, the only thing we need to do is have a motion to adjourn. So I will move that motion if someone will second it. You can't second it, you're the chair. Seconded by France. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us. If you have any questions or anything, give me a call or text anytime. And I'll see you on the 14th. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Good night.
you.